We finally have our first official look at Dexter Resurrection. Now, of course, we have had some set photos in the past, which I've shared with you guys on the channel, but these are like official first look photos, super high quality, photos from actual scenes. Now, we also got this really great article from Vanity Fair where Michael C. Hall, Clyde Phillips, and Scott Reynolds give some really great insight into the show and what we can expect. So let's get into it. I'm Pamela, welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited to talk about this today. We got some great photos and a really cool article. So the headline for this Vanity Fair article is, "In Dexter Resurrection, Michael C. Hall rises from the ashes and hopes to stick around." An exclusive look inside the new Dexter series, which Hall admits will undo the character's previous fate and mark a whole new beginning for TV's most honorable serial killer. Dexter Morgan knows what the end feels like, and he's not too keen on it. The morally minded serial killer portrayed by Michael C. Hall first showed up in Showtime's eponymous drama series Dexter in the thick of the late 2000s anti-hero boom alongside Walter White of Breaking Bad and Don Draper of Mad Men. The hit show ran for 8 seasons before reaching a widely maligned conclusion in which Dexter decided to fake his own death and go live as a lumberjack in a secluded mountain town. Hall then reprised the role in a sequel series, New Blood, which ended with Dexter seemingly actually dying at the hands of his son Harrison, played by Jack Alcott. That finale was fairly divisive too. Obviously, all of us here absolutely love Dexter, but I think we can all kind of agree that when it comes to finales, they don't always wrap up these shows perfectly. I will admit, with a recent rewatch, the first finale of the original show has kind of grown on me. It's not as bad as I remember, but that might only be because I know that they came back with New Blood. So knowing that that isn't like the true end of Dexter, I like it a little bit more than I did when I first watched the show. With the New Blood finale, like that was just super rushed in my opinion. It's not that it was a bad ending, it was just very rushed. So obviously I am super pumped that they are coming back with another show. The article goes on to say, still, dead is dead, right? Not quite, it turns out. Michael C. Hall says, "We thought it would be the end, but he's a remarkably resilient guy, so the possibility was always, at least for me, percolating." And he reiterates that he personally pushed to bring his signature character back to TV. He called Clyde Phillips, Dexter's original showrunner and New Blood's creator, to see what could be done. And Phillips says that Michael's pitch went like this. He said, "Dexter is in my bones, and I know what's in your bones, Clyde. Can you figure out a way to undo what we did at the end of New Blood? Is there a way to make him survive?" And then within a week, Clyde Phillips and fellow executive producer Scott Reynolds came up with an idea, and they told Hall it was a yes. Thank God they could figure something out. They put a Resurrection writer's room together while shooting Original Sin, a prequel starring Patrick Gibson as Dexter in his 20s, set about 15 years before the events of the initial series. Original Sin's first season has turned out to be a crucial text. It's narrated by Hall's Dexter in the immediate aftermath of New Blood, as he's revived by doctors. His life flashes before his, or really our, eyes. He looks back on how he got into the killing for justice game in the first place. Michael C. Hall says the character was severely traumatized by a lot of what happened to him in the original incarnation, and is only now at a place where he's able to shed that. Spending time with that Original Sin material helped embroider and color in what was maybe a line drawing or an outline that I had in my mind from the beginning, so it's a tool for us. I do really love that Original Sin is kind of tied into Resurrection. If you guys remember from the premiere of Original Sin, we got those scenes with Michael C. Hall directly after the events of New Blood. When he's being taken to the hospital, we get to see him on that hospital table and he's narrating. And he says, it's really like they say, your life flashes before your eyes. So Original Sin is kind of him reminiscing on his life. Also, the fact that these two shows are sort of tied together, it makes me wonder if Patrick Gibson could possibly do a flashback in Resurrection. I think that would be so fun. I mean, if we got to physically see Michael C. Hall in Original Sin, why not give us a fun little scene with Patrick Gibson physically in Resurrection? The article goes on to say, premiering this summer on Paramount Plus with Showtime, Resurrection takes place a few weeks after New Blood and is framed by the intense dynamic between father and son. Dexter chases a missing Harrison to New York City, where David Zayas' Captain Angel Batista is hot on their trail from way down in Miami. Zayas is far from the only original cast member returning. Phillips says John Lithgow and Jimmy Smits will be in it for a minute, referring to their beloved respective roles of the Trinity Killer and Miguel Prado. Dexter's late adoptive father, Harry, who instilled the code of killing in his son, will return in ghost form, again portrayed by James Remar. Then there's the matter of Harrison. Safe to say he'll play a prominent role. Michael C. Hall says Dexter has a lot of hesitation about making contact, which is a fundamental part of the tension that is pervasive for the first bit of the season. Harrison revealed himself to be, and remains, an all the more potent connection to Dexter's tiny sense of humanity. He craves it in spite of himself, so it's a major bolt of thread running through his interior life and the life of the season. Phillips adds that Dexter's search for his son intersects with the re-emergence of his father's physical memory. He says Dexter finds Harrison fairly quickly. Then he asks Harry, "Do I reveal myself to him? Is it going to screw him up to have a zombie dad?" At the dramatically right moment, Phillips teases father and son resume contact. Dexter is determined to make sure that he has a solid and, more importantly, honest and loving relationship with his son. And then there are the new cast additions. Neil Patrick Harris, KRYSTEN Ritter, Eric Stonestreet, David Dastmalchian, and more will appear in guest roles, while new adversaries include Peter Dinklage as a billionaire venture capitalist with a dark side, and Uma Thurman as his mysterious head of security. Clyde Phillips says when Uma first came to the set, the whole set changed. In walks this movie star and she has presence. But nobody gets a call sheet like this, particularly on a TV show. I guess it shows that we're more than just a TV show. People want to work with Michael. So yeah, that is something that we've been talking about here on the channel. I think the fact that all these big name stars have signed up for Dexter Resurrection says a lot about Michael C. Hall, the quality of the script. I think the story is going to be great because everyone wants to be a part of it. I've heard some fans say that they're worried that all of these big name actors have signed on and they think that means it's going to be terrible, but I think the exact opposite. If all these people want to be a part of it, it has to be good. In the article, Michael C. Hall goes on to talk a little bit about how, this has been his dream. He talks about his acting career and how he went to New York University. So this is kind of full circle for him, filming in New York City again. I will link the article down below in case you want to read the whole thing. I'm kind of skimming over some of it right now. But then Clyde Phillips goes on to say, why would an audience invite a serial killer to their home every Sunday night? He kills for good, he has a code, he does all of that, but it's Michael. His voiceover brings a relatability, a vulnerability, and shows a whole other side to the process that we absorb and honor and believe. And I think we're hungry for more. I mean, everything he's saying is definitely true. I think there is a small part of us that can all kind of relate to Dexter in a way, and we're certainly hungry for more Dexter. The article goes on to say, I asked Hall if he felt any reluctance about jumping back into the character, especially since it required an undoing, as he described it, of where he'd previously left him. And Hall says, none of that in any way serves me at the present. I'm probably dispositionally addicted to ambivalence, but no. It's a special thing to be onto something that continues to give you something back. Ultimately, any misgivings were overwhelmed by relishing the idea of him rising from his self-imposed ashes. Both Hall and Phillips sound energized by what they call at various points a second chance and a new beginning. They're all over New York, a place where you can be lost and found. Dexter for a while was lost and now he's found himself again. So yeah, in New Blood, we know that he hasn't killed for almost 10 years, and now in Resurrection, it seems like he is up to his old ways. The article also says they can imbue the psychological insights of Original Sin, expand on the narrative building blocks of New Blood, and return to what made Dexter so distinctive in the first place. I definitely feel like Resurrection is going to feel a lot more like the original show compared to New Blood, and I'm super excited for that. Phillips also says this show can end up being an Easter egg hunt for the OG fans, but we're also making it a fresh new show. If people haven't seen the show before, they can come in and watch a fully formed television series. So that will definitely be interesting to see. I mean, if you're new here and if you've never seen Dexter, I still would highly recommend seeing the original show before watching Resurrection, as well as New Blood and Original Sin. I do kind of feel like it's necessary. Of course, I haven't seen Resurrection yet, so I don't really know, but I feel like you kind of need the backstory. But it makes me think of the show The Vampire Diaries. I don't know how many of you guys here have seen it, but it's one of my favorite shows, and they did do a spin-off show called The Originals. And when it comes to those two shows, I definitely would recommend watching that first show before the spin-off. But they kind of did the same thing. Like, if people only tuned into the spin-off show, you really don't necessarily need to watch the original show. So it'll be interesting to see how they make Resurrection a fully formed television series where you might not necessarily need to watch the original show, but still, I would recommend it. And then finally, the most interesting part of this article, in my opinion, they asked if Hall and Phillips view Resurrection as a limited one-off series, and they respond defiantly. They said, "We've got the strongest franchise in Showtime's history, and we plan to do this for years." Years with an S. The thinking is not to come back for a sort of self-contained one-off again, but leave it open to further exploration. The intention and hope is that the story will continue beyond this. But even if that weren't the case, Dexter Morgan is a hard guy to keep down. Hall says he's a much more human, flesh and blood version of that horror trope of someone who just refuses to go down. So yeah, it's looking like Dexter and Michael C. Hall are here to stay for at least the next few years. I'm hoping it's at least 3 seasons. Maybe we can get 5 out of it. I do feel like 5 seasons is like the sweet spot for TV shows. A lot of times when shows go beyond 5 seasons, the quality of it kind of goes down, but I mean, I have faith in these writers and creators and Michael C. Hall. I mean, they really blew me away with Original Sin. When I first heard about the prequel, I was kind of hesitant, but it exceeded my expectations. You guys know I am super pumped for Dexter Resurrection. These new photos that we have are looking amazing, but let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Leave a comment down below. We do have a few other updates, which I won't get into in this video. I will make a separate video probably tomorrow or in a couple days, so stay tuned for that. But please give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and make sure you turn on all notifications so that you don't miss out on future Dexter Resurrection updates. Any updates that we get leading up to the June premiere will be posted to this channel, and then you can of course expect the weekly episode breakdowns and theories as the show is airing this summer. Please also go follow me over on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and I will see you guys next time.